Welcome to today's Scratch programming lesson. On the website or in the video description down below, there is a link that will take you to this project. So you've clicked this link from the website or from the video description, you see the cat with his bowl of Cheetos in the city. Now, take a look up at the top right. If you are not signed in, you will need to go ahead and sign in with your username and password. And once you are signed in, you will see this magic remix button up here at the very top. When you click that remix, that will make a copy of this project that belongs to you, and you can program along with me as we learn a little bit about some math today. So first things first, you have on your screen, you have two sprites. You've got this backdrop of them in the city, the cat and his cheesy poofs. What we want to do is ask the user questions. Every time they get a right answer, the cat will move closer to the cheesy poofs, and hopefully he will reach that bowl of cheesy poofs and win the game. What we have right now is when you press the green flag, the cat uses the say block to give you a word bubble. Today we're going to see a brand new block that we've never used before, and that is going to be in the sensing, which is kind of the light blue. And you will notice that there is a block called ask, and if you drag this ask block out here, now watch this. When I hit run, notice the difference between say and ask. When he uses the say block, it's just a speech bubble. When he uses the ask block, it looks like a speech bubble, but then I can type. Beautiful. So the ask block is interactive. It gives you a speech bubble, and it also allows the person sitting at the computer to type in an answer. That's beautiful. The only thing is, I really don't want to know your name. I want to know, let's ask a math question. So let's do multiplication. So I will say, what is 5 times 2 question mark? Gorgeous. Now watch this. I'm going to ask you 4 questions. What's 5 times 2? I'm going to type in the right answer. Now watch this. When I type in that 10, notice that 10 went in a very certain spot. It went into this place called answer. So think of that as almost a spot in your computer's brain where it can hold on to something. So the 10 I typed from my keyboard went straight into this little spot, and that spot is called answer. But if I were to run it again, and if I were to say 33, that 33 I typed goes into that spot called answer. So now we have a way to talk to the computer. The computer can ask us questions, and we can answer back to the computer. Let's go grab another say block. And watch this. I'm going to turn this cat into a parrot. It's just going to say exactly what I said back to me. So right now he says hello. That's not what I want. But if I go over to sensing, and you'll notice that right kind of in the middle, there's a little thing called answer, and it's just the right shape to fit right in that hello. Now, answer is basically just the code word for whatever they've typed. So when I type in my 10, he will say 10 back to me. And amazing, it will work for whatever I type in. I could even type in, I love puppies. Right? I love puppies goes into that answer, and then that cat will say it back to me. Okay. So we're communicating with the cat, right? He asked us a question, we gave him an answer, he heard that, and he can respond back to that. Now, I'm going to show you something a little bit better. If I go down to the operators in here, which is green, there is a join block. And join, it's almost like a puzzle. I could put the answer, let's put the answer, it'll fit right here. And instead of apple, let's type in, you said space. Don't forget that space. And then notice it will fit right here where that hello is. So instead of hello, after he gets my answer, he will say, you said whatever that answer is. Beautiful. So now he's going to do a little bit of math. Now the crazy thing is I can't just say, you said 10, because I don't know what they're going to type in. They might type in 325. right? So what I need is I have to ask the computer itself, hey, will you go get whatever that number was and put it in my speech bubble? So let's do this. I'm going to take this say block here. I'm going to toss it in the trash for right now. But you definitely want this ask block right here with a math question. So if you don't have that yet, go ahead and pause the video. Here's where things get really crazy. So not only do we have to talk to the computer, now we need the computer to make a decision and to grade our answer. So if you want your computer to make a decision, let's go to the orange control and your best friend. Now this is a crazy looking block because we've seen these loop blocks before that kind of look like a dinosaur's mouth. Well, this guy looks like triple-decker cheeseburger, right? So this is kind of like a Big Mac. It's got top bun, middle bun, bottom bun, right? So an if statement is going to let me make a decision. Either I'm going to do one thing or I'm going to do the other. An if statement lets you ask the computer a question, and so the computer itself is going to make a decision. It's going to look at this and decide what to do, and it kind of does it on its own. So I will say if, and then I kind of ask a question, and then in my Big Mac, I get to the top row here is what to do if the answer to that question is yes, and then the bottom row here is what to do if the answer to that question is no. So here's just a quick example of an if statement. If it is a weekday, and you want to think about it as a weekday as a question, right? Is it a weekday? And the computer will look at the calendar and decide for you. In the event that it is a weekday, it'll tell you to get up and go to school. But if the answer to that question is no, it's going to skip going to school and it's going to let you sleep in. Now, the weird thing is, in an if-else statement, you will never do both of these things. The computer decides either to do the first one or to do the second one before it moves on with its life, but you can't do both. So, here we go. Let's go. I need to know if the answer is correct. So the question I want to ask is, if they got it right, then I make my decision. So if you go to the green operators, and you want to go down to the one that has an equal sign, so not the greater than, not the less than, but the equal sign, and notice it's going to fit right there. What you want to know is if the number they typed in is equal to what the number should be, what the right answer is. So let's do this. Let's say I'm going to go to this blue sensing. I'm going to get answer. Now this right here is whatever number they just typed in. So you're going to say if, and then you're going to go grab the number they just typed in, and then right here you want to put in the correct answer to your question. So your question might not be the same as mine, but my question is, what is 5 times 2? So I want to know, the question I want to ask the computer, I want to say, hey computer, is the number they typed in equal to 10? Because that would mean they got it right. Now let's pause the video real quick to be sure that you're up to date with your if-else statement there. Unpause, you're ready to roll. Now all we need to do is we need to decide what should we do when that answer is yes. When this green thing right here says the number they typed is actually equal to the right answer. Now I'm going to cheat a little bit. I already built out some code for you to fill out your Big Mac. So you may have to scroll over a little bit, and again, if you click and hold your mouse in the white area, and then you can drag. I'm going to grab this right here, the one that says good job for 2 seconds and lets him take 100 steps. I'm going to put that in the top part of the hamburger. So if the answer to this is yes, if the computer says, yep, whatever they typed was equal to 10, I'm going to say good job. And I'm going to let him take 100 steps towards his cheesy poofs. And then down here, I've got a couple other things that say, oh, this is what you said, right? And that's not right. So let's try this out. Pause the video real quick if you need to get those into the correct spots. And let's make sure that we agree with this code, that it works. So here we go. Let's hit run. So let's get it right first. When I type in 10, the computer looks at the number that you typed. is equal to 10, and so you come to the first part of your double-decker cheeseburger. Let's try it again, but get it wrong. So this time when I hit run, I'm going to type in something crazy, like 395. This time, that number comes here. It is not equal to 10, so it skips down to the bottom part. So congratulations, you just wrote your very first if-else statement, and your computer is so smart that it can grade your work and make a decision. Now, if you want to spice this up a little bit, you could put other things in this cheeseburger between the buns. So if you wanted to play a sound, if you wanted to change his costume, if you wanted to do other kind of random things, you can put more things in the if and more things in the else. So feel free to do that and pause me if you want to spice that up a little bit, and that would be beautiful. Now, here's what we've got. Right now, our cat is a liar, because when I run the program, he says, I'm going to ask you 4 questions, and he asked me 1 question. I don't like that. Let's fix this up so it will ask 4 questions. Now, what I will say is I am too lazy to do that, because think about this. All of this, the blue ask, and then that, what to do if you got it right, what to do if you got it wrong, that is all dealing with 1 question, right? So I could drag all those blocks out and do this entire thing 4 times, right? That is one way to approach it, and that would work, but I'm too lazy to do that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to make up my own block. So all these blocks, like switch, costume, say, ask, they're all blocks that already existed in Scratch, but we can actually make our own. So take a look at this. Come with me over to the My blocks at the very bottom. Looks like pink bubblegum. And then there is a button to make your own block. And when you press that, you get this crazy pop-up. Now here we go. We can name this block anything we want. Let's name it check answer. I'm going to write a block that will check your answer, and be really careful. You typed in check answer. Make sure you also click here to add 1 input. So we're going to check an answer, and I want 1 little input right there. And then I'll press OK. Now putting mine right in the way, so I'm going to drag him over here. And here's what we've got. We've got to tell the computer what checking an answer means. Now here we go. I'm going to come back over here to the green flag. I'm going to pick up this Big Mac. So I'm going to leave the ask right there, but I'm going to pick up the Big Mac. I'm going to move the Big Mac over here. And again, if you need to kind of click and drag to move around, that's fine. Now, the only thing that I want here, this is so beautiful, but what I want is the right answer is not always going to be 10. So I'm trying to teach the computer how to check any answer. Now watch this. You can pick up right here where it says number or text. I can actually click and pick that up, and I'm going to put that where the 10 is. Now make sure you put it in the right spot. And I'm going to have if the answer is equal to whatever they put right there. Let's take a pause break and make sure you're caught up with your code here. I'm going to come back to my green flag, and I'm going to, after I tell the computer to ask the question, now I'm going to tell the computer to check the answer. And what I want to do, this is bizarre, I want to type in the right answer. So I want you to say, okay, you asked this question, now check out to see if they got this answer. So this 10 will literally get picked up and put right here, and then it will come right here. So it's almost like passing notes. So the 10 is going to come to here, and then he's going to pass it to there, and it's going to compare the 10 to whatever is in that blue box. Now, all we've done, we really haven't changed the program at all. It still works exactly the same. It knows that 10 is the right answer, and it knows that random letters are the wrong answer. So all we did is we kind of hired an assistant. We hired somebody to help us out over here. And so now your cat does this work, gets the answer, and it hands the right answer over to this guy and lets this guy grade it and says, okay, well, here's what they said. Check that compared to the right answer. Now this makes your life a little bit easier because I only need to replicate these two things to do new questions. Ask the question, check the answer. Ask the question, check the answer. I could technically do that in a loop. We're not going to do that today. But if you were really fancy pants, you could do this in a loop. But watch this. That blue ask block, if I right click with my mouse and I duplicate, now I've got a whole nother ask a question, check the answer. Boop. The only thing that you need to change, look how nice and lazy this is. The only thing you have to change is the question. So make up a different question. You have to change the question. You also have to change the right answer here because you have to hand the right answer over to the pink bubblegum part to check against what they said. So ask a question, check to make sure they said the right answer. Ask a question, check to make sure they said the right answer. Here's what I want you to do. Pause this video, make yourself up a great math quiz. I need four questions, and come back and we will finish up. Okay, you've made a math quiz. You've got 4 questions, 4 answers. I'll run this program and get the answer wrong. Now, first thing you need to know is that 10 comes into that pink block and then goes here and gets stored like right there is the number 10. The 37 I type in goes into the blue block, which comes here. And so then I'm comparing 37 to 10. The computer looked at those and says no go, takes you down to the bottom part of your cheeseburger. Timeout, pause the video, go play your own game, type in 4 correct answers, and make sure your cat makes it to the Cheesy Poofs. What I would love is to be able to tell them that whether they won the game or did not win the game, right? So here's what we have. Once this is all said and done, once you've had all 4 questions, question, answer, question, answer, question, answer, question, answer, the interesting thing is at this point in time, again, I'm in the brain of the cat. If you come to sensing, you have an option to say, ask a question, is the cat touching the Cheesy Poofs? Now, what I would love for you to do is to make a decision. So you're going to be putting code here at the bottom. You need to, I'm going to give you a tip. You need your code to decide between 2 things. Either the cat won because it's touching the Cheesy Poofs or it didn't. And you have a couple of different backdrops you can choose from. So let me show you what I want you to accomplish. So here we go. I'm going to play the game and I'm going to get everything right because I'm so good at math. Now here's where things get interesting. This is my 4th question. 5 times 0 is 0. When I get that right, then you have to make a decision. Did he win or did he lose? Now you could play some music, which would be cool, but I would like for you to go to this backdrop when he wins. Now, I'm gonna be bad and I'm gonna lose this time. So he didn't get to move, and then even if he gets to move from there on out. Five times 0, I'm going to say is 5. Now watch this. After I get that last question, he is not touching the Cheesy Poofs. And so you want to go to the lose screen. You could also play a sad song if you wanted to do that. So that is your challenge. Again, you're going to add some code down at the very bottom after you've asked all the questions. You have to make a decision. So you want to think about what kind of question you want to ask. Right? How do you know whether he won or lost? So you want to say, if he won, switch your backdrop to a certain thing. But if the answer was no, he didn't win, you want to switch it to a different backdrop. So I want you to try that out, see if you can make an awesome math quiz, and then test your parents' math skills. See if your parents can beat your math quiz game.